After 5 grueling days in London, amidst a record-breaking field, 8 remain in the quest for one of the most prestigious titles in Europe. Only one can be champion. Will it be the young American who's running hot?
It would really mean a lot to come into the biggest final table I've ever made and be able to come from a 5th place chip stack and end up winning it.
Or a Scot looking to make his mark on UK soil?
Tom Marchese, he's sitting directly to my left, and if he was to get a lot of chips, I think that would really be a big headache for me.
There's experience in abundance and an international mix, but one man stands apart. Quadruple WSOP bracelet winner John Juanda has an incredible record in London and is looking for his next big score.
I think everybody who has made it this far is a good poker player. Having said that, I'm more concerned about, me playing, my best game.
He's the man to beat. The final table is set. There can be only one winner. .848 players entered the PokerStars.com EPT London main event, and there were big-name casualties on day one.
Oh well, classic flip.
EPT favourites and superstars alike all sent to the rail. $380 came back for day two. Superstars like Ivy, Demidov and Negreanu still had plenty of chips to play with.
Slow and steady, long way to go yet.
It's not that I want your chips in particular, Joe. I just would rather win chips than lose them.
Former EPT champs didn't fare so well in their quest to repeat. Victoria Corrin,
Don't be sorry, honestly.
Liv Burry
Good luck.
and Kevin McPhee were all sent to the rail to try again next time. No cash for Barry Greenstein, and the chip lead was assumed by young Scottish newcomer David Van Plu.
Did you show your ID?
By the end of the day, we were ready to burst the bubble, and it was Owen O'Day's elimination in 129th that left the remaining players relieved and in the money. So 128 came back for day three. Many marquee players were still alive, but sadly didn't last long. Champions League winner Teddy Sheringham, Russian pro Alex Kravchenko, Phil Ivey and Greg Raymer all busted before we reached the final 24. For some it was an EPT breakthrough. Daniel Negreanu cashed for the first time ever.
Made money and had it shot, but, I'll have to wait till next time.
On the penultimate day, 3 tables had to become 1. Last WSOP champion standing, Joe Hasham came close, but ended 15th after falling to the juggernaut that was John Juanda. Another of Juanda's victims was Team France's Thomas Bichon. While they started strong in the event, Bichon was the last hope for a French title. Americans Tom Marchese and Carl Bowker were nipping at the heels of fellow statesider Chance Cornuth's massive chip stack. But Cornuth's aggression got the better of him, and no final table this time. All hope for the UK is pinned on the young Scotsman David Van Plu. He's been looking strong since day 2 when he took the chip lead. And so there were 9. Short stack John Hall had enough and moved all in at the wrong time. His ace jack being called by Poland's Artur Varsek, who woke up with aces. No relief on the river for Hall, so 8 remain in the quest for the title. In just a few minutes, our 8 London finalists will be taking their seats at this table to battle it out for the 3rd title of EPT 7. 4 of the 8 are formidable pros, so the fight for the championship promises to be a cracker. Portuguese pro Fernando Brito is in 8th place with only 4% of the chips in play. Next to him at the table and in chips is Per Umar. The successful pro is looking for his first major win. Canadian Van Pemain is 6th in chips with almost 1.3 million. American poker whiz kid Tom Marchese is hanging in there with just a 6% stack. Artur Vasek, no stranger to EPT final tables, is middle of the leaderboard with 2.25 million. In 3rd place is the much talked about internet player David Vanplu. The young Scot has 3.67 million. One of the best known players in the world, John Joanda, is holding on to 28% of the chips. He has a very comfortable 7 million. A bit too comfortable, in fact, for our chip leader, Carl Bowker. He also has 28% and only 100,000 more than the mighty Joanda. The final table kicked off with early action. Short-stacked Per Ummer was forced to make a move with nothing,
Up comes Queen 7-8.
but didn't catch any cards. He's gone. Artur Vasek gladly took his chips and 7 remain. Time to hand over to your commentators, James Hartigan and William Reynolds.
And just because your buddy Tom Marchese is at the final table, I expect nothing but objective commentary, William.
I'll only be calling it the way I see it.
Bowker folds, and when one big stack folds, the other one normally raises. And with pocket 5s, I think we can expect Joanda to get us started here.
Big blind is 80,000 chips now. That represents almost 3 5,000-pound initial starting stacks in this tournament.
So min plus raise, 165,000. Vanplu with king-queen suited.
Vanplu has a real decision here. He's at least calling, and he might be 3-betting. He might try to isolate the aggressive Joanda.
He has just called.
He's going to take the conservative route and see a flop.
Marchese with queen-jack will muck.
Marchese makes a disciplined paint laydown.
Van Pemain in the big blind with 8-3 suited. He'll fold those, and we will go heads up to the flop.
Drop us a flop, dealer.
There's a 5 on it. A set of 5 for Joanda, nothing for Vanplu.
Joanda crushes this flop, picking up 3 5s. And there's no slow paying from him. He's putting a stack together. With 500,000 in the pot, he leads out for 270K. Vanplu has a decision here. He has one of the best possible hands to float this flop. He has 2 overcards and 2 backdoor draws. He has the backdoor straight draw and the backdoor flush draw. And Joanda's only bet 270,000.
And floating is what he does. He calls in position. There is now $1 million in the middle, and we will see a turn card.
Vanplu isn't going to make things easy for Joanda, but little does he know, Joanda has 3 5s.
A king on the turn. This could work out quite expensive for David Vanplu.
This could be a costly float. Worst card in the deck for Vanplu, best card in the deck for Joanda.
He was looking to hit one of his overs, and he did. Little does he know how strong John Joanda is right now. Little does he know that he's drawing dead. More than $500,000 is the bet from Joanda.
Vanplu is sure to call here. There's 1.6 million in the pot. He's getting 3-1 on his money, and he has top pair with a queen kicker now. And it's a disguised top pair. It's hard to put Vanplu on a king at this point, and this is a great card for Joanda to barrel if he was bluffing.
Vanplu makes the call.
This pot is over 2 million chips now.
An inconsequential 7 on the river. Joanda reaching for chips again. How much value can he extract here?
Joanda doesn't want to risk losing value with Vanplu checking back a 1-pair hand, and it looks like he's going to go for the bet line. No fancy play syndrome, just good old-fashioned value. 1.25 million.
Just over half the pot. Vanplu announces call, and Joanda will show his set of 5s.
Vanplu is going to see the grim news as his stack is sliced in half.
Meanwhile, Joanda becomes the chip leader at this final table. Tough for Vanplu to take on a player of Joanda's pedigree. More than $9 million in tournament earnings, 3 Best All-Round Player awards, 4 World Series bracelets, including the one he got here in London. But can he win on the European Poker Tour?
Welcome back to the EPT London final table. After tangling with Joanda, the short-stacked Vamplu made an all-in move on the button with the mighty 10-5 suited. Marchese made the correct read and called for his remaining chips. Unlucky as Vamplu paired his 5 on the flop, and then there were 6.
Marchese, 7th place finisher.
And the king has been dethroned.
Hold back the tears, William. With Marchese's elimination, everyone's now locked up 145k. Remember, the winner will get £900,000. Joanda has 5s again.
5s have been good to him. Let's see how he plays it this time.
Blinds now up to 50, 100,000. He makes it 265, and Vamplu, now healthy again after winning Marchese's chips, will call with 7s. And a quick call from Varsek, King Queen of Diamonds in the small blind.
This could have been a great opportunity to Varsek to just ship this all in pre-flop. He's only playing 21 big blinds. Joanda's been opening a lot of pots at this table, and Vamplu's been defending against Joanda's open. Now he has to play this hand out of position against 2 skilled players.
We go 3-way to the flop. A set of 7s for Vamplu.
Vamps with the slot machine. Jackpot in his eyes.
Varsek will check. We get the continuation bet from John Joanda, 570,000.
Joanda's going to keep up with his aggressive style, putting both of his opponents on overcards.
Vamplu just makes the call. Varsek will stand down.
A little Dr. Slow play from Vamplu. Joanda seems to be a bit worried. Those were worried eyes.
4 doesn't change anything.
Joanda does pick up gut shot equity here, 6 to the straight. There's over 2 million in this pot now. Joanda's not one to let pots go. He's scared. He sees something in Vamplu. He's not putting Vamplu on a float. He's putting Vamplu on a made hand.
Stars of South American poker feeling the tension. And tweeting.
With over 2 million chips in the pot, let's see what Vamp comes up with for the magic number.
The number is 600,000.
That's a big stack, but it's a modest bet. It's only 600k into a pot of 2.7 million now.
Now you reckon Joanda saw something. He did. He immediately folds.
The veteran live pro picked up something on the young internet pro and made the disciplined check fold.
Ampy rocks.
David's friends Max Silver and Nick Abu Risks, they've both won tournaments on the UK and Ireland Poker Tour. They're hoping their buddy can win his first major title here in London.
I got into poker, I was introduced to it by some friends when I just had gone to university. It became a part-time job at uni. I started playing full-time once I graduated. In big live tournaments, I only really started playing them this year, and I only have 1 cash in this year's WSOP. Winning the title in London at the EPT is not just about the money. I mean, being able to say you're an EPT champion, the opportunity that gives to play a ton of more tournaments and really get some recognition in the poker world is really great, and that's what I'm aiming for.
Well, if he takes it down in London, he won't just be an EPT title holder. This event doubles as the grand final of the UK IPT. He could be a double tour champion. He's not going to play this hand. He's folded to the opening raise from Carl Bowker. Fernando Brito only has a stack of 390,000, and he's all in.
That's under 4 big blinds. Any ace with 4 big blinds has got to go in the middle.
Well, Varsek has an 18 big blind stack, and seemingly a decision here.
Varsek won't be reshoving this one. He's going to pass.
He will fold. Bowker will snap call because of the price he's getting. And I was about to say he will have 2 live cards. Because an ace has been folded, William, Jack 10 suited is actually marginal favourite here.
Well, it looks like I learn something new every day.
By making this final table, Brito's taken an early lead in the EPT Player of the Year race. Ace high in front right now. Pair of 6s in front. Bowker will need to see a jack or a 10 or running cards for a straight to eliminate Brito. As it stands, he will double up. There's the 10. So Brito moves to the verge of elimination and will need an ace or a 6 on the river. He does not get it, and he will be our 6th place finisher here in London, earning himself £145,000.
Now I can play.
Some people cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go. The table just got a lot happier. The short stack Brito has been terminated.
I would have taken a 9, but I thought asking for a 10 would be getting greedy. 9 would have been good.
So, with 5 remaining, the big stacks were comfortable. Short stack Caven Pemain decided it was time to shove, and 3 successful pushes got through. On the 4th attempt, Vamplu reshoved with queens.
All in.
His ladies stood up, and we were down another seat. So this is the situation as we rejoin the action. Vamplu is on the chase in 2nd, but Juanda still leads the pack.
Right now, we are going to sweat with the chip leader. We're going to play this hand from John Juanda's perspective, and we will only see his hole cards, which are 9-10 offsuit. He's on the button, William. It's been folded to him.
9-10's clearly a good enough hand to bump up on the button.
Blinds are 60 and 120,000.
Juanda really taking his time here.
He makes it 250,000. Vamplu defends his small blind.
Vamplu does not take his time. He calls immediately. If I have to put Vamplu on a range, it's going to be pairs and paint and ace-X.
Well, if it's the latter, he's just hit trips. Juanda has a pair of 9s to go with those aces on board. Vamplu checks.
Now, Juanda has 2 decisions here. He can bet to take down the pot, or he can check it back for pot control.
He decides to continuation bet 325,000.
If he is going to bet, I like 325,000. It's a pot-controlled bet of half the pot.
Vamplu makes the call. What can we read into that?
Still putting Vamps on that same range. He's got a smaller pocket pair, spade paint, or trip aces.
Vamplu checks again. Should Juanda bet again here?
With 1.3 million out there and the majority of his range, smaller pairs and flush draws, I like another small pot control bet. However, he will have to be wary of a check raise from Vamplu.
He bets 485,000.
And Juanda does just that. This is a small bet designed to get to showdown.
Vamplu is not check raising, but he's check calling. Are we being sent a message now that our 9's no good?
Not necessarily. Juanda's 9 is going to be good a fair amount of the time, but Vamplu still has the possibility of having an ace in the hole. This river changes nothing. If he was on the flush draw, he bricked 2.3 million chips out there.
Vamplu's first to act.
You didn't do anything yet, right? That's correct.
He's check called the flop and turn. And now he's counting out chips. I mean, this could be a bluff on the river with something like King Queen of Spades.
I wouldn't expect him to bluff out with the King High because King High still has exceptional showdown value here. I'm putting Vamplu on a premium at this point. I believe Vamps is putting Juanda on a mid-range value hand with all of his pot control bets. He's trying to make this look like a busted flush draw and squeeze some value.
Juanda will fold. Vamplu did have an ace, ace-10.
Vamps made an excellent river lead with the intuition. Juanda was done value betting and checking back to showdown.
And what about Juanda's laydown there? He read Vamplu for a strong hand earlier on. He makes another great laydown. He seems to know where he is all the time against this Scot.
All of Juanda's live experience added up to a pro fold, but the young gun gets the pot.
It's like a David versus Goliath battle. Actually, David versus John, but that doesn't sound as impressive.
And look at this, Juanda under the gun with a Goliath hand.
He's going to raise with that ace-jack. He's going to make it 330,000. Vamplu not taking him on this time, but Varsek all in with his 5s. Just under $1 million for Juanda to call. Not that significant a percentage of his stack either.
All right, I got a call. So you have your ace-5 hand again. Is that 2 5s?
We are racing.
Juanda knows how tight Varsek's been, but he's implied to make this call for only 11 big blinds.
All right, good luck to you.
Well, Varsek kissed his cards for luck before he flipped them over. He needs that pair to hold. He's relatively happy with that flop.
No jack, no ace. Very good.
Aces and jacks are Juanda's outs. They would send Varsek to the rail. He's just got to dodge it on the river. Working that Varsek magic. But it doesn't work this time. He was our 4th place finisher in Berlin back in season 6, and he finishes 4th here in London in season 7.
All good things come to an end, and Varsek's run is done.
We're now 3-handed, and Juanda is dominating the action with nearly 11 million in chips.
Well, it hasn't been a smooth sailing, you know. Like the first day I went all in a couple of times. I was down to 10,000 from my starting stack of 30. Seems like every day I had so many aggressive players on my table, and when that's the case, usually you don't have a chance, but to gamble it up with them. I feel like they kind of give me the disadvantage, because when people play with me, they're like, yeah, I know this guy, it's John Juanda. I've seen him play, I know how he plays. Here I am now at the final table. We've spent quite a bit of time playing 9-handed, so I kind of, get a line on how everybody else is playing.
Now, if Juanda wins another major title in London, he will move from 8th to 4th in the all-time tournament circuit money list.
Quite the impressive feat.
It's been folded to him in the small blind. He has ace-3.
A good old-fashioned battle of the blinds.
And it's another battle between Juanda and Vamplu.
And Juanda has an ace.
He raises it up to 345,000. And in the big blind, Vamplu has a better ace, ace-9.
And position. Vamplu has a lock on this hand pre-flop.
Is he considering whether to raise or just call and play the flop in position?
He's probably just going to call and not create a huge pot pre-flop with Kyle on the short stack.
He does call. 735,000 is the size of the pot as Juanda hits trips.
This flop is going to be extremely troublesome for Vamplu. It's a dry flop. It's hard to put Juanda on a 3, and Vamps has the backdoor nut flush draw with his ace-high equity. But as you can see, he's only a 4% favor to win this hand. Juanda with a virtual grip on this hand.
A tower of orange chips worth 25,000 each. The bet is 475,000.
Juanda has been a stranger to slow playing all day, and he's going to continue to lead out and bring the pressure. And Vamplu's got to look him up. Vamplu has position here. That's huge in this hand.
7 of clubs means that Vamplu is now drawing dead.
1.7 million out there. Juanda's sure to bet again. Let's see what the price to play is.
He's reaching for the green and black chips. They're worth 100,000 each. And he is going to bet 1.2 million.
Juanda has been betting half pot all day, and now he's upping the ante. This polarizes Juanda's range to either a complete airball or an extremely large value hand.
Vamplu not to realize it's the latter rather than the former.
Doesn't look like Vamps wants to go anywhere.
Counting out chips for the call, and he will make the call, and we will go to the river with 4 million in the middle.
Vamplu is convinced ace high is good and is going to continue to look Juanda up here.
The river is a jack.
Well, if there's one card Juanda didn't want to see, it's another jack. This card might slow him down, but he still has the option of putting in another river value bet.
He has the full house, threes full of jacks. Might be concerned, though, that if Vamplu has a jack, he has jacks full of threes.
Juanda could lead out here for a half-pot bet and maybe fold to a re-raise. I think that's what he's debating in his head right now. He's thinking to himself, does Vamplu have more ace highs or jacks in his range?
He elects to check, and Vamplu checks behind with showdown value.
So bro. Ace of diamonds, 12 clubs, 4 houses, 2 ace and jacks, and John takes the pot.
He came so close to value betting that, and he probably would have got called.
Well, after Juanda checked, I'm sure Vamplu thought he was good.
And over the course of this final table, we've seen 4 big hands between these 2 big stacks, and it's now 2-all. But Juanda has the chip lead.
If you want to play in an EPT event, go to pokerstars.com and there are qualifiers every day. I'm joined by Team Pro Joe Hasham. Joe, you played in this event, you came 15th, so the last few days you've been playing with these guys. What can you tell us about them?
The 3 guys that stand out for me are the 3 that are remaining, actually. David, who looks like Harry Potter's younger brother.
Yep.
And Kyle, who I played with. I played with both of them day 2 and day 3, and they both play great. And obviously John Juanda, I mean, he's obviously the most experienced, and he's got the most notches on his belt.
Now, you have made quite a few final tables yourselves, so what do they have to do to win here today?
You know, inexperienced players will come into a final table and they may have the chip lead and think they need to win it right then and there. You need to just pace yourself, pick your spots, you know, pick on the people who you can pick on, and stay away from the crazy guys.
And lastly, who's your pick to win?
David.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you at the end of the day. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Carl Bowker came into this final table as chip leader with 7.2 million. He's been pretty quiet, hasn't played that many hands, and his stack's pretty much the same as what it was at the start of the day. Most of the big pots and most of the big chip swings have been between Vamplu and Juanda, and I guess William Bowker's been handcuffed slightly by having Juanda on his left.
He's had his work cut out for him with the big stack Juanda. He's had to pick his spots precisely, and here we go. He's going to pick this spot with pocket jacks.
Bowker starts the hand with 7.6 million. It's 160,000 to call. We think he's going to be raising.
Bumps it up on the button. 350,000 chips to go.
Juanda has tens.
Oh boy, this is going to be troublesome for Juanda. This is a 3-betting hand short-handed. He's going to be putting more chips in the pot before the flop.
He raises it to 1 million straight. Vamplu in the big blind has garbage and gets out of the way. Back to Bowker.
Bowker would be happy picking up this pot pre-flop. There's more than enough chips in this pot already for him to add a nice cushion to his stack.
So if he 4-bets, is it an all-in?
Well, Kyle could make a small 4-bet to give Juanda the illusion that he still has fold equity if he wanted to shove with something that wasn't a premium like these pocket tens.
He raises another 1.5 million.
All in.
And Juanda shoves.
And 3-handed, these are both huge hands, and Juanda wants to add some cushion by doing the pushing.
Bowker made that small 4-bet to induce a shove, so surely he calls this.
He has a picture pair and 1/3 of his chips in already. He's going to make the call.
Call. No? Call.
He does call. Yes. And a member of Carl's crew sees that he is 4-1 favorite to double up here.
Great news for Bowker. Kyle's patience has paid off, and he's getting it in as good as you can pre-flop and no limit hold'em. Pair over pair.
And this could cripple Juanda. If he doubles up Bauke, he'll be left with just 4 million. But that's a good flop for Juanda. It's all clubs, and he has the 10 of clubs in his hand.
Juanda's picked up another 9 outs here to go along with his 2 10s.
Any club, any 10, improves Juanda's hand, and that will do it. Juanda makes the flush on the turn, and Bauke is drawing dead.
Kyle Bauker's EPT title hopes have quickly been flushed away into a flop and turn of black clubs.
Bauke came into this final table as chip leader, but the 2-time W Coupe bracelet winner will have to settle for 3rd place here at EPT London. But he got his money in as 82% favourite. You can't do more than that. And so, we're heads up, and not surprising that we're left with the 2 most active players at the final table. Juanda sitting pretty with more than 18 million in chips, but you can't discount David Van Plu. 1 double up, and he will be the chip leader. And whatever happens, David Van Plu's already set a couple of records. This will be the biggest cash ever for a Scotsman. He's also moved to the top of the all-time money list for Scotland. This heads-up battle begins with blinds at 80 and 160,000. No ante in heads-up play on the EPT. Juanda is on the button in the small blind. Jack deuce.
This is an extremely light hand heads up. It can't flop much equity. And with no ante, there's a little bit less out there to go steal. But Juanda wants to steal anyways.
He makes it 360,000, and I guess Juanda feels that he's got such an advantage over his relatively inexperienced opponent that he can just keep piling on the pressure from the button.
It's not a bad strategy. Playing in position equals winning more pots.
Van Plu with the better jack will call, and we will go to the flop, which is Jack 7, both players with trip jacks. Van Plu's kicker playing though.
Juanda's going to be heading into stormy waters on a raft filled with 3 smaller jacks.
There is a 22% chance that this ends in a chop. But right now, Van Plu is 67% favourite to win it all.
With over 720,000 chips in the pot, Juanda's going to waste no time to build this pot, betting just over $500,000.
Van Plu is check raising. Total of 1.3 million.
Van Plu also taking the aggressive route and coming in with a great check raise here, putting Juanda to the test.
And Juanda re-raises. It's now 2 million.
It's nearly impossible for Van Plu to rebluff Juanda's 3-bet. At that point, he can only jam a better jack or a spade flush draw.
All in.
Look at Juanda's reaction. Oh, he's going to be so sick.
I have a jack.
David shows a check, check 10.
Jack deuce no good, John.
And Tom shows another check with a deuce.
The Van Plu supporters willing on the double up.
Juanda's going to be praying to the poker gods for the 22% split or the miracle 11% win.
John has a deuce.
I'm running so good in here. Aren't you worried?
I have spades as well.
Let's see the turn, please. It is a 5.
Spade insurance for Van Plu.
3 spades on the board. And David
Juanda needs a deuce for the win, a 7 or a 5 for the chop. Any other card, Van Plu doubles up.
Let's see the river card, please. It's a queen.
It is a double up for the Scotsman, and he takes the chip lead at this final table.
Juanda's got to think to himself, maybe he could have played that different. If he had just called that check raise on the flop by Van Plu, it could have been a much cheaper pot with the spade hitting on the turn. It could have slowed down the action for both players.
But it worked out well for Van Plu. 13 million, plays 11.8.
Well, after Van Plu managed to climb into the lead, Juanda turned on the heat, knocking him down again. It's neck and neck, so still impossible to pick a winner.
blinds are now 100, 200,000. Juanda has raised every button so far. Ace-6 of diamonds, I don't think this hand's going to be any exception.
He's finally qualified to raise the button.
It's a min-raise to 400k.
And Vamplu's qualified to call pre-flop with this pair of black threes.
Feeling frisky, he might even re-raise.
Re-raising with threes might put himself in a sticky situation versus Juanda.
Well, he has elected to call, and it's 2 pairs for Juanda.
Juanda drills this flop. Ace is up.
Vamplu checks, and Juanda reaches for chips. How much is he going to bet?
Juanda hasn't slow played all day. No reason to start now.
It's almost a pot-sized bet. 700,000. And Vamplu is counting out chips to call this. An out-of-position float against John Juanda.
I'm not too fond of Vamp's call here. He is putting himself in uncharted territory, out of position against a fearless, aggressive opponent that at worst is going to have 2 overcards.
Now 3 spades on board.
Well, Juanda should still be betting this turn. There are more aces and Broadway cards in Vamp's range than flush cards. He is playing with chips. Yeah, he decides to check and give Vamp a free card. Vamp could hit a spade now for the win.
Instead, Juanda fills up.
Wow, once Juanda checks back this turn and rivers the 6 for a boat, the strength of his hand is properly disguised.
Vamplu checks, just as he did on the flop, just as he did on the turn.
2.2 million out there.
Juanda keen to extract as much value as possible. That is a full stack of black and green. That's 2 million with an orange cherry on top. That is 2,025,000.
A nearly full pot size bet. With a smile to top it off.
What is Vamplu doing? Juanda wants to know as well. He's raising. He's check raising this river. He's trying to rep the flush.
Vamplu is putting Juanda on 6x at best and mostly just an ace. But Vamplu's dancing around a campfire holding cans of flammable hairspray trying to rep this river flush when not even Poseidon himself could check raise Juanda out of the captain's seat of this boat.
And breathe, William.
Deep breaths.
Well, it's a case of when rather than if Juanda puts the rest of his chips in.
This play could have been brilliant, except Juanda does have the boat. It's very plausible for Vamplu to have a flush here.
All in.
Here he goes. And Vamplu realizes he was representing a hand that Juanda actually has. Or in this case, could actually beat. And Juanda put some distance between him and Vamplu. And David's railing buddies look like they've just been presented with a rather disappointing bank statement. I mean, if David finishes second, he will collect £545,000. But the winner will not only get that £900,000 first prize, but the trophy, the title, and all the trappings of poker celebrity that come with it.
The hardware and the glory, James.
Juanda min raises.
Vamplu again with another dominated ace, but at least his is suited.
Well, in that case, stick another 200,000 in the pot. Let's see a flop.
Vamplu starting this hand with just over 32 big blinds.
Ace-10 still in the lead, plus a gut shot straight draw for Juanda.
Juanda's elected to check this one back.
Bingo. John Juanda has the nut straight. Vamplu does pick up a flush draw.
If there's one turn card I wanted to see, it was the Jack of Clubs. The nuts for Juanda and the nut flush draw with the gut shot for Vamplu. Action card.
And Vamplu is going to lead out on the turn. He bets 625,000. And with 2 flush draws out there, Juanda isn't going to slow play this.
Juanda's surely to raise. There's a lot of action-killing river cards, and he wants to make Vamplu pay.
How much is he going to ask him to pay?
Well, it's going to be a stare down and 1.85 million. This puts Vamplu in an extremely tough spot. If he calls in bricks, he's going to lose 1/3 of his chips this hand, but it's highly unlikely Juanda would check back a great flop to c-bet and then raise a turn lead as a bluff. Vamp should proceed with caution.
All in.
Or ship it.
Call.
Raise all in and call.
Obviously he calls.
The stone cold nizzle dizzle nuts.
John Juanda is on the verge of winning his first EPT title. He finished second in a high roller event here in London in 2008. He is 1 card away from lifting that trophy and winning £900,000. He has to sweat a club, which would see Vamplu double up, or a 10, which would see this pot chopped. Is John Juanda the 3rd champion of EPT7? No, it's a club on the river. The nut flush for Vamplu gives him the double up. So near, but no cigar for Juanda.
Vamplu won't be needing to go to the gym anytime soon.
Eh?
He gets enough exercise pushing his luck.
After 5 shows, that's the best you can do. It's game on here in London. Almost even. Vamplu with the slight chip lead. 13 million plays 12 million.
The heads-up battle for the EPT London title continues. It's David Vamplu, the gutsy young Scot, versus John Juanda and his wealth of experience. The chip lead has swapped back and forth repeatedly throughout this monumental face-off, but after that very lucky double-up, things really started going Vamplu's way. He took full advantage, raising every pot, and Juanda, finding himself shorter and shorter, really had to bide his time and pick his spots. Vamplu's plan of aggression paid off, and the Scot amassed a whopping 4-1 chip lead.
This has been an epic heads-up duel, and we've seen the chip lead swing between these 2 players. Now Vamplu has a significant advantage. Blinds are now 150, 300,000, and from the button, Vamplu's raising 600k.
The price to play is large and in charge, and Vamplu is going to continue to control this button.
10-6 of spades, and Juanda will defend his big blind.
He's going to try to flop something.
And he flops
a gut shot. But Vamplu flops 2nd pair with a king kicker. There's 1.2 million out there. John Juanda only has 5 million left.
In addition to that pair of 4s, he has the backdoor diamond draw.
Vamplu doesn't want to give any chips to Juanda with a free card. He's going to bet to take it down.
It's a continuation bet of 775,000.
Enough to make Juanda blink a few times. Juanda has a gut shot. His hand isn't completely dead, and he's grabbing chips, and he's going to check raise to 1.8 million.
Remember, he started the hand with a stack of 5.8 million.
Vamplu has to be wary that Juanda's committed.
All in.
But he shoves. It's a very nervous all-in declaration.
Vamplu's not slowing down versus Juanda's check raise, and he pulled out his wand to cast the 3-bet all-in spell.
And he gets Juanda to fold, leaving himself very short now. Amazing the way momentum has swung here in Vamplu's favor. Juanda on the ropes.
Juanda doesn't have much wiggle room.
But remember, it wasn't that long ago that he was one card away from winning the whole thing. King deuce of diamonds on the button.
11 big suited king, ship it.
All in.
That's what he does.
John, all in.
And Van Plu has an ace.
And a decision.
Call.
He calls it! And now it's David Van Plu who's on the verge of winning his first EPT title. He is 60% favourite with 5 cards to come.
Ace of clubs.
These two have played 135 hands of heads-up hold'em. And now Juanda will need to get lucky to survive.
Let's see the flop.
The flop has an ace and a 3 on it. Van Plu takes a commanding lead, and Juanda will now need running cards to stay alive.
John needs to catch 2 cards.
It could be all over on the turn. David Van Plu could be crowned the winner of EPT London, and he is! The Scotsman has done it! He has taken the title here in London, and John Juanda has to make do with another second-place finish on the European Poker Tour. But right now it's about this young Scottish internet pro who's won his first major tournament title.
Oh
man.
Jesus.
You played so well.
£900,000 for first place. And Juanda, second in the high roller event 2 years ago, second in the main event in 2010. And Van Plu, understandably exhausted. What a day and what a final table. One of the longest we've had in the history of the European Poker Tour. Bowker came in as chip leader. He came in as the favourite, but the big battles were between Van Plu and Juanda. And at the end of the day, it's the Scot who succeeded.
David, this morning when you woke up, did you think this could happen?
I knew it was a possibility, but with John and Kyle both having massive stacks, my plan coming in was basically to avoid busting before a lot of the short stacks, because there's so many people with like not many chips at the start of the final table. Once it got past that, I got into play more pots and trying to do my thing, and in the end it all worked out, you know.
Well, David, you did your thing. You've won 900k and you are the champion of London. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so the most successful London stop to date comes to a close.
I've got my shades on. You can't get a read on me.
That's how we win EPTs, boys and girls.
How do you say thief in Italian?
Ladro.
Dario?
Ladro.
Dario? Can I say that, or is that illegal?
It was an incredible final table.
Jewelry.
It's a tray of clubs.
And we had a worthy winner.
David Van Plu, EPT London champion.
From William Reynolds, Michelle Orp and me, James Hartigan, we'll see you in Barcelona.